Now, let's take up the Afghan situation where there's been nothing substantial done to transform the country, even to provide humanitarian aid. The Schiller Institute is sponsoring a conference on Monday, an emergency conference, Stop the Murder of Afghanistan. It would seem that this would be an ideal situation for Russia, the United States, and China to collaborate to solve a humanitarian crisis. Uh, what are you planning for the conference? And people should register at the end of this webcast. Should register to join it. But what are the plans that we have for it?
Well, we will first of all take a very sober review where we stand almost 5 months after the Taliban took over in Kabul in mid-August, because what now has emerged is really an ugly picture, because everybody knew that when the Western donor countries cut off the aid to Afghanistan because of the Taliban takeover, they immediately gave the death blow to the Afghan economy, because 75% of the budget came from these donor money. So if you cut off the money, immediately you collapse the economy, no cash, people have no money to even import food, even if they have a little money. So now, as a result, you have the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet, with, immediately 8 million people in the process of starving as we are talking now. That has been stated repeatedly by the United Nations, by the World Food Program. And, you have the danger of 24 million more people dying this winter. And the UN just required at least 5 billion to immediately stop this. Nothing has happened much yet. A little bit has occurred, yes, mainly from Russia, from China, Pakistan, Iran, some neighbors in Central Asia. So we will review the situation. We will have many Afghan experts, people who are Afghanis, and we will review the situation and then come out with an action plan to really arouse the conscience of the world, to change that with what I call Operation Ibn Sina. Now, what is needed is the immediate, remedy of a medical crisis. We have COVID. We have people have no access to medicine, and Ibn Sina was the great physician living 1,000 years ago, who is one of the absolute greatest physicians in the history of mankind, together with people like Hippocrates, Galen, and he developed the whole canon of medicine, which was the standard work for 600 years, even in Europe, until the 17th, 18th, even 19th century. And he is one of the greatest thinkers of all times. And he comes from this region. His father was born in Bak, which is in northern Afghanistan. He himself was born in Afshana, which is where his father married his mother, near Bukhara. This is Uzbekistan today. And for all the people of this region, Ibn Sina is one of the absolute admired heroes of their own history. And I want to rally the support for Afghanistan, first the medical question, but then more largely the economic reconstruction, in his name, because I think the Afghan people have suffered so long, because they are geographically in a very important place where the British decided that their great game had to be launched now for centuries, one can say. And therefore the Afghan people need a symbol of hope that they will have a bright future. So if you want to help, then become part of this mobilization of Operation Ibn Sina to save the Afghan people. They have suffered 40 years of war just in the recent period. Can you imagine 2 generations living under wartime conditions? And many women are dying. They have their dying babies in their arms. So if you are concerned about women's rights in Afghanistan, then help us to save the life of people, because without them living, you can forget about any right, because dead people tend to have very few rights, at least their body has. So that will be the subject. We will discuss the philosophical ideas of Ibn Sina more, which is very exciting. If you have any heart in your body left, then join this campaign, because I think that if the West cannot mobilize its resolve to help to resolve a situation which we caused. I mean, we, the West, NATO was there for 20 years. If we cannot solve that, the whole world will look at the West with complete contempt. So there is a last chance, to reverse that by, joining hands now with all the neighbors, and including emphatically Russia and China. But the Europeans and the United States are called upon the most, because if we can't do that, then I think this will be the symbol of our demise, and we must not allow that to happen. But we must take that as the turning point in history.